You want to be able to put on a masterclass. It's difficult, and it's important to highlight with a lot of these teams already making this rotate into that next zone. You would assume, with these rotate legends, you either got the Pathfinder or Wraith, really. We have 7 Pathfinders in this lobby, but it's Watson who was the most picked legend alongside Newcastle. But Newcastle, at 55% and Watson at 65%. It's to find these bunker down opportunities while staying naughty. Takes that longbow shot from a distance. He's on the Bangalore, by the way. He's got the wingman R9 in hand. Well, Curve, by the way, I'm sorry, but Neo just cannot catch a break. Curve is going to be able to pick up that KP, and Vayne is able to finish off Akba. It looks like there is a crazy fight happening over here. You have JDG now moving up from the back end here before trying to find the players who drop down into the hole.
This is actually really interesting, right? We're foregoing playing Newcastle. We're going with the Sparrow, Bangalore, Watson. And we are just going to go hyper aggro and fight for everything.
Where we're seeing these teams now just rotate. There is a fight and a pileup that we once again saw in the feed. It's going to be NIP, Neo, who are in trouble. Wolves, who are now going, by the way, from Zeus. You talk about that big evac tower. You could have lunch and still be able to control your own legend before finding your landing. They do find their own landing on the outskirts of Wall, but it's a lot of these sniper fights that you have to be careful playing up the back end of these crates. Pulling over to North Pad. This is going to be interesting, Tiff. Talk about a little bit of a mix-up here and trying to find your space with a lot of these teams that have the ability to coexist.
Well, at least RRQ are holding this area. They have Newcastle, right? So should we pull out into the open water? What we saw with them a lot in groups is the Pathfinder plays. So you're going to have movement. You're going to be able to throw down and open so long as you don't get absolutely targeted by a Sheila, a team with like a Rampart, or just all of that. But you can lock it down. And they move into the far back and decide, let's stay here for now. And I think that's a brilliant spot for them.
Especially with this comp, right? It's not like you got to worry about the cryptos, etc. That's why you're seeing so many of these Watsons here. See the pings, and they're just going to sit pretty together with the Newcastle. Some teams were getting torn apart. We saw it earlier with Neo. Hopefully they are able to bring their fuse back into fruition as we do have a quick pause here, but it's just highlighting the setting of the big pileup that we currently have on the very northern side of North Pad. We know
through since Valk isn't here. That's why I love the path picks that are coming through.
We have an enemy here.
All right, we're back into it, everybody. Got to keep you on your toes when we take a look at the team over by Jurassic. It's Shopify who got the survey beacon and are now rotating with the zipline.
And they've got the Rampart as right. Like, that is so exciting for them. And sure, they're outside the top 10, but it's not like they haven't been in this situation before. Group stages, they've had a lot of those tribulations that they've had to face in order to lock it in. And Phony, thankfully, able to step in last moment in lieu of Koifel, who we are just hoping is out there on the mend. Zap has had some crazy pop-up moments through our group stages. We just need to string a couple fights together, and next thing you know, one 20-plus point game, and it's completely changed for you.
All right, just being able to slot in could always be difficult. By the way, NIP, they're on a tear, man. If it's not Neo on the other side of that longbow, it's Curve harassing Dinos. Chaos getting knocked from that, and they've been trying to share the other side of the leg of North Pad, while GK actually are starting to find this rotate, too, on the edge of zone. See how they're going to be able to fare against Dinos and the likes of everybody else in North Pad. As we get to see the side-by-side, though, Stay Naughty playing right below the rock while Shubi's just trying to hold on for dear life. Hopefully is able to pop a shield bat. Yes, as JDG now move up, and VP once again, NIP too, are still finding themselves in this fight over by North Pad.
And the best part about being right here is you can kind of lay low. You see what Floating's doing. Sure, you portal, and you try to get away. Does he go in there? Are we going to wait for them to come back? This is so menacing. And he's kind of hoping. He's like, all right, I'll go. I'll leave. I'll keep peeking. But JDG are your gatekeepers at the southeast side of that circle. Ty, on the other hand, that portal led them to Cascade Falls. We're not done yet, though, as we look towards VKG.
They do, because they're going to be finding this fight versus PXX. Again, we talked about the Wraith. QQ literally survives, takes the portal back, is able to get the shield swap, looking right behind them. They're ready to cover this portal with the Watson fences. Try me, they said. The VKG now backing away, DCG right alongside them. It's a huge pileup. I mean, everybody in this lobby is finding themselves in this next zone, minus Gen G, TIE, and Zipline Mafia. JD Gaming are taking a roundabout position into rotating from the southeastern side of the choke because they want to get the survey beacon info. So they actually rotate on the outside of the zone. such as Aurora too, because they want to also get the ring console. So they're taking their time, trailing right behind VP, and the fight now over as Shopify Rebellion. We saw them take that zip line now and are trying to take this fight up on the high ground.
You definitely want to fight for this ring console to get all the information you can, and luckily you put the amped covers out, block your line of sight, and let's see. The information that we gather sends us up to the north, kind of out towards the right of North Pad. We are going to be incredibly open for our end game. And just like that, with the information, they are dipping away from flat. These choke points that lead up to North Pad are really difficult to pull through, but also flat does need to get that information from the ring console as well. So Shopify leaving is great, but PXX have also rolled in.
It's also great that they were able to get the info too, right? Like basically in the face after putting in pressure. PXX now hanging out to the back end of checkpoint while flat had showed their face, and Shopify lingering about while Gen G up on the high ground are trailing behind TIE. This is an isolated fight. I do know with JD Gaming getting that survey beacon after rotating outside of zone, they probably do see these two teams taking their time. So this could be an opportunity for JD Gaming to get the KP that they need. Remember how tight that bottom end between 6th and 7th was looking like in terms of overall points. So they could try to play this with Gen G also having the Evil Harvester. They back away from Ty and now are moving up to the north towards JD Gaming.
Quick little look here. You can see Wolves have isolated themselves out to the far northeast of the next circle. Zipline Mafia out towards the east from them, coming in from the low buildings outside of Wall. Shopify Rebellion are carving their path currently up into that next circle. Which trench will they play from? We'll stay tuned for that. JD Gaming is going to be in the choke point on the outside towards the right. Guys, I'm really worried about the teams like Flat and PXX that have to come out of checkpoint. Ty themselves have actually dived down south and are going to rotate from that down B side of thing. Virtus Pro will be there though.
It really depends on how they're going to be able to find that rotate, right? Like, will they have the evac is the question. It's going to be so difficult. Aurora, who have now found themselves from down beast after getting the ring console, playing on the outskirts of this zone, but they're getting sniped in the distance. I mean, I'm hearing longbows from every single corner of the map. See NIP in some trouble too. Hopefully they're able to get that reset within the side-by-side as a slowdown off the longbow. BKG. It's the back-to-back. I mean, they get the next crack, but it looks nice the way that they've been bunkered down inside of that building. We saw them earlier, preventing other teams from getting the survey beacon, which is why you have the rare like JD Gaming, who have the Sparrow, or even Zipline Mafia, because they don't have to overcommit in getting that survey beacon information.
You just line up the arrow and get the info, but this is why having a sniper is so incredibly important, because these sight lines up in the North Pad vicinity are so long-sighted and open. You constantly keep that pressure onto the teams, diminish their resources, and for fun are working to diminish Deep Cross Gaming. They find Xiao. We don't necessarily get the full just yet, but we focus on our healing because he's already so far in the open.
So it's really tough. I mean, even with the pileups that we're currently seeing in every corner, Tiff.
Yeah, and I mean, at least Deep Cross Gaming, they do have the altar, right? So the reset will be there for them. For Gen G and PXX, we highlighted earlier the checkpoint area. The collapse is here. For Asia and Dexter, saying side by side, trying to breach the fortress PXX has laid.
I mean, with how quiet they've been so far, they really desperately need this. They do get the knock eventually, and the one solo PXX got out of there before the 3P came, because that's going to be from Flat, so no matter what, it was at a loss for PXX, now forcing Flat to look at Gen G. Flat say, okay, well, we had the high ground originally. When Nano did drop down temporarily, they wanted to time that 3P properly, and they know they're a little too late. That's why you see Qzer holding onto the high ground, putting down the fence line from the zip line that leads you down to where we saw Gen G originally. Flat know that Gen G are either going to rotate and commit to that northern choke from checkpoint or even wrap behind. For VK Gaming, we're holding on to that building that we saw at replay in.
All right, with that pip, you're going to see a couple of things. It shifts away from Wolves Esports location out towards the west. You also see JD Gaming leaving the north checkpoint, going south and wrapping onto Gen G. Those three are going to fight. Meanwhile, RRQ trying to hold down the location they moved into.
Oh my goodness, JD
Yes, I'm
Gaming,
saying.
no way!
They chose that. They chose to leave that. As VKG moved into their spot, they dropped down and Gen G wiped them, dare I say, with ease.
I mean, like, as you mentioned, like, trying to take that fight. I mean, trying to take a roundabout position, too. When you knew, by the way, that Gen G were going to be there, you scanned the survey beacon. They still decided to take that fight. And now they are the first team to go out in this lobby. That is not what you want to risk when in the overall standings, you're literally like a 2-3 point difference away from top 6.
You realize we're 15 minutes into this game and we just lost our first team?
Yeah.
That's the pace we're looking at. Storm Point, the center of our 10-game series, has halted the fighting. And to the north, we continue. Checkpoint is going to be difficult, but Zipline Mafia holding these pineapple buildings. I was curious. They're outlining wolves out onto the rocks towards their right. And with Pathfinder, we can essentially kind of choose wherever we go. We do have our Sparrow Oaths available, and that can cause a lot of chaos.
No way. Wait, he gets away with the red? That's actually crazy. PXX, who were hiding as a solo,
like
back against the mountain. Don't see me, I'm the mountain goat. Actually ended up coming up with the Moby and getting the res attempt here as VK Gaming, though, inside their building now get contested with DCG on the outside. Kesa holding on to the high ground, looking right down below. Will they meet their fate alongside GCG while we get to see the fight? You talk about the zipline, as currently Zipline Mafia, after talking to their fans, have found themselves up on the high ground here.
King of the Hill. We lose Deep Cross Gaming to VKG as they laid towards that fight. Kazakh takes a ton of damage, but Excuse gets caught out. Wolves are breaking them apart, hanging on the regen. They never knocked the Newcastle. Crazy Kong is going to immediately pull No Name up and say, get back in it. You've got the pylon to regen your shields. And Kazakh on his feet, back to the high ground. Hold on, let that RE5 work.
But they're getting creeped by GK, who are also shooting at them from afar, hiding behind the amp barriers as Wolves have the number advantage, trying to zipline away. You see the portal play. Kazakh now, I guess, gets a little bit of breathing room here, looks to get the reset. Neither of these teams trying to overextend. Spaghetti all over the floor with how messy that looked, honestly. But it's a full 3-man versus a duo. It's a side-by-side, and fighting is happening everywhere, though, as VP down to a solo. And it's so crazy to see how within 18 squads are left. Oz's still alive, playing off the other side of the knockdown, though. Looking to get this res. Can he bait out? Because there's still KNC right to their right. But a saving grace. That's a slam down from the Newcastle wall. It's a 4-team pile-up. Well, we have the res from the other side. Cole, too, going crazy. Finding 2 knocks onto Aurora. Jen gets to get the finishing blow onto VK Gaming.
And just like that, Gen G stays healthy. Back to the Zipline Mafia. They get a reset. They get a full team of 3, but No Name keeps the pressure on as they try to track him down. Virtus Pro eliminated. The Sparrow.
What?
Trying to make a Hail Mary play. And Excuse has retreated to the top rock.
For free? Oh my god. I mean, maybe not for free, actually.
No, he's down.
That was pretty expensive. I mean, they needed the Black Friday deal here because now Excuse gets taken down thanks to the Craver.
WGR Neo has a Craver. Synap from E36 has a Craver, and that is wreaking havoc in the north. But we're still alive. Kazakh is still here.
He keeps doing it. He keeps doing it. I mean, you could just hurl these Cravers in their direction, and from afar, GK actually saved them. The best insurance Zipline Mafia could have found themselves in. Double zipline, though. Which one am I going to take? You got to figure it out. Because now it's only up to Kazakh again as the solo. We saw the res coming in. We saw the Kraber shot up in the feed. And we're seeing zip lines for days.
The importance of him staying alive inside the top 6 is vital. Back to Gen G. PXX going for a Wraith play. And this is so insane. There's 5 teams just ahead of them.
I mean, while Genji are just healing up, there's a huge pile-up happening by E36 and IP. Kinotrope would love to see that fight going down there, over by that choke where the survey beacon is, as well as Flat trying to survive. E36 eventually get eliminated. Genji now move up after healing up. Flat get eliminated. Genji now holding on with their backs against the wall to survive. Close to the ring, 10 squads left. KNC still in this right alongside Gen G that we saw before, and IP2. We saw Curve lighting up the feed. This is another team who has also been able to reset. PXX eventually get eliminated, and all these teams are outside this next zone. Mine is RRQ, DINOS, TIE, going up into the zone pool.
And the worst part about this is your first, second, and fifth place teams are out of the lobby. So all these teams getting points are vying to leapfrog over them. Kinotrope has a member down thanks to Kira Stinger Bolt. and we're healthy. Looking to the slide, but can we get the defenses? Do we even need to?
Oh, that was so clean from NIP. The piercing spikes going hand in hand because they're one of the few teams rocking the Catalyst. Maybe honestly the only team with the Catalyst. This is where it worked so well. Seeing how NIP have been able to capitalize off of bunkering down with this cat composition. The Sparrow to add. You mentioned the Stinger Bolt as we saw the Nox singing. NIP playing off the cusp with 33 total points right now.
That's so McLovin of Cole to lock in the Catalyst and do plays like that. Vayne now setting his sights straight onto Gen G, Knuckle Cluster and L-Star to hold them at bay, force them back. We don't want them to rotate through here because Ninjas in Pajamas will have a difficult rotate. RRQ, DINOS, and TIE are the three teams in the next circle holding the line, and you know what? Gen G's in the north.
They're farming. They're farming. They do get knocked though. At least one on Taziki, but Dexter! He is flying before the nade at his feet. Take them out, but they were fragging out tip. They had 15 KP. We are down to our last few squads. 5 squads left here in this lobby. Well, NIP, oh no, don't give Vayne a haircut. Hold on real quick. But they're forced to play against as long as the zone is closing in. They don't have time.
In comes the mother load from DINOS, and Ninjas in Pajamas will fall. DINOS with the high ground. DINOS, who start in North Pad, took the ultimate height so early on. We're on purple. We have a pylon in the back pocket. And now we get to look down and see GK, TIE, RRQ.
By GK have been sitting here for so long from the very beginning. And as you mentioned too, DINOS with their POI advantage. Down to our last 4 teams, TIE, DINOS up on the high ground, RRQ playing up the low ground on the outskirts of where GK is situated.
Can I just say that DINOS have acquired 8 kills from their home POI? Usually if you're not leaving your POI, you lose the chance out on getting kills, but they've made so much of it. J Future with the Knuckle Cluster, you can constantly onslaught people with that. They're already looking at TIE. If they had that pylon gone from them, do you know how many Knuckle Clusters would be sent on them?
Oh man, especially if you are able to take care of that gen in general too, and you're trying to also take care of these amp barriers, but it's going to be impossible when you have to worry about the Newcastle wall trying to zap that up. Really comes down to how this mother load is going to play off too, because with our last 4 teams here, it's important to highlight that DINOS are tied with Zipline Mafia for top 6. If they get one more KP, even the placement points alone, they will overthrow them. But with Wolves and For Fun also not being here, this could just easily be a shakeup within the top 3 in the overall standings after these 6 games. Seeing how now the last zone's closing in right behind their backs, it's time for TIE to make a move.
And RRQ and DINOS are 5 points away on the leadership. 1st through 7th, and Keon, the Sheila in hand. We're just gonna keep on going. Don't mind me, I'll leave this here. I mean, they're the only duo in the lobby, and TIE about to be out if they don't hold on.
They have to work with what they got. With the fact that they don't have their rate, that's very detrimental too. It's not like they're gonna have a portal. It's not like they're gonna have stall potential when the final ring does close in. But after getting that knock originally from the other side here, TIE is in a lot of trouble. GK are giving them the other half of the sandwich, but DINOS is looking at them. RRQ now move up. TIE get eliminated. Last 3 squads, and DINOS lose out on their fuse.
But they need to get a reset, and they do. They're back up, and now setting their sights onto RRQ.
Oh.
But can they hold both teams at bay? They have found themselves in the center. Dropped has no wall in the back pocket, so he wants to let this fight go down.
Kiana's having way too much fun, but this is the presence you have to show off when you're down to a duo. Chaos now taking a flanking angle off the Watson. He's setting up the perimeter. This is so smart. They're wrapping up behind drop. He doesn't know. He puts on the wall to his left. They're looking at RRQ. RRQ's also having a great game, but not getting the KP they need. They have the placement. They may move up as DINOS now fully send it onto the duo. They want to be able to get double top 2 here. GK now down to a solo. It's just the Rampart. RRQ was able to find drops. J Future though taking it slow alongside DJ and feeling a rather chaos here. And with Dino having their POI advantage, they are your Game 6 winners with 14 KP.